So let us go ahead now and discuss why do we need a personal finance management skills, or why do we must we manage our money? So we want to be able to look at that. We want to ensure that our money needs are met at that when due. We want to be able to offer financial security to our family. We want to avoid all kinds of debts that may occur or that may come or may be owned by our families. What about growing our wealth and our assets for future uses? Improving our family standard of living. We want to live in a better house and a better environment, drive a good car, eat good food, and of course be healthy. I want to be able to minimize conflict in marriages and even in households between parents and children who are probably in school, or between husband and wife, because if money is not properly managed, these also affect marriages, and of course at the end of the day will affect families. What about preparing for our future and unexpected life events? That is very, very important, because we do not know the things that will happen tomorrow. And it's important for us to be able to plan for tomorrow and also for unexpected life events. So modeling a financial discipline would help us, and not just us, would also help people who look up to us, just as our family and as well as our staff members. So what do we need to learn about money management? And I'm going to be taking us through some basic things or foundational aspects that helps us on how we can manage our money. The first one is we need to be able to learn how to budget. Let's put this down. How to budget. We need to be able to obtain funds for major purchases. Looking at how many streams of income do I have? Is it just one channel of income, or I'm able to have multiple channels of income? What about the habit and the discipline of saving? We need to be able to save money for future use and for unexpected emergencies. We also need to be able to purchase some insurances that would also help us peradventure some unexpected emergencies happen. What about investments? You have heard it that let your money work for you. Your money is your servant. And from Warren Buffett, we have heard so many times that don't just keep your money, let it work for you, let it double itself. And we're going to be looking at some of the ways that we can do some of these things. Some of us are hitting our retirement age. What plans do you have for it? From age 20 and above, it's important for you to start thinking about what kind of life do you want to live when you get to your retirement age. And you need to start putting plans in place towards that. What about carrying out your wealth expansion and estate planning? That would help you with respect to the money we earn today. A few days ago, I was with some friends and we're talking about the journey of life. And it says the journey of life is ups and down. Ups, sometimes we're at the peak of the hill, and sometimes we're at the valley. And when we are at the peak of the hill, we should always make plans when we are in the valley. Because in the valley, things are unfavorable, it is dark, it is unpleasant. But when we're at the peak of the hill, when things are all rosy and beautiful and shiny, then we should always plan for that. And that will lead us to the first topic about how we can manage our money, which is the most important one, budgeting. And I'd like to refer us to Proverbs 13, verse 16, which says, a wise man acts with knowledge. And of course, we know that wisdom comes from the application of knowledge. And knowledge is for us to know, for us to learn. And one way you can know is for you to be able to pen down how you must have been spending your money every week or every month. That gives you some knowledge to be able to understand your spending habits. So a budget is simply a plan detailing your income, that is the money that comes in, and your expenditure, the money that you spend over a period of time. And so you want to be able to see how you spend money and how you make money, compare this, and then you can then plan from mistakes you might have made in the past. So budgeting is intended to serve as a guide for us to be prudent, and it reflects our values. So I did mention income and expenditure. Our goal is that your income should always be greater than your expenditure. In other words, it means you should spend less than you earn. I will say that again. We need to be able to spend less than we earn. So I would like for you to be able to look back in the past 1 month. How much have you earned and how much have you spent? I have done it in the past, and I've seen a lot of people who have downloaded mobile apps, or some are able to use jotters and pen for every expenditure, for every expenses they want to be able to put it down. So still talking about budgeting, we want to be able to look at income and what are the various types of income that we can get. Our income could include our salaries, our wages as we earn them, as well as inflow from other sources, which could be your dividends from your shares, rent from your properties, other investments, and all of that. And I would like to use this opportunity to talk about, for those of us who are entrepreneurs or freelancers, if you make money from a particular project that you have done, that whole money is not yours. That money is for your business. And it's important that you pay yourself salary from that money. And that is one good way to do it. Most times when we make money from a particular business, we feel the whole money is ours. And psychologically in our mind, it looks like we have a lot of money, but you don't really have a lot of money. So paying yourself a salary is part of the expenses for that business, and it's important to know that. And it's good for us to be able to make budget on our net income, not on your total earnings, on your net income. So never spend your money before you have it. That's what Thomas Jefferson has told us. So you need to budget only on your own net income. So we've looked at income. Let us look at expenditure, which is our expenses. Different people have got different ideas and different models on how we may decide to spend our money. We have those who have the 50-30-20 rule, and it says 50% of your money should go towards your expenses. And the remaining 50%, you take 30% out of the remaining 50% to meet your want. So the first 50% meets your needs, and then the next 30% will meet your wants, the things you desire, the things you want, even though they are not necessary, and the remaining 20% you save it. While some others believe you can use the 70-10-20 rule, where 70% is being spent either for your needs or for your want, but 70%, it's good for you to have benevolence. So 10% could be set aside for benevolence, and then 20% could be saved. So in these two scenarios I have given, at least 20% should go for your savings. Now you can take 10% for donations, for benevolence, giving to people who are in need, and then whatever is remaining, you can then split that between your needs. And of course, your needs includes your house rent, your monthly expenses, your DSTV expenses, the children's school fees, money for food, and all of that. And then your wants are going to be your desires. You want to go for a vacation, or you want to buy jewelry and all of that. Those are just wants. So it's important you want to be able to break it down that way. And then the eventual breakdown of your expenditure will depend on individuals or circumstances. So two people may not necessarily have exactly the same line or writings of expenditure. Overall, your expenditure, as I mentioned earlier, should be lower than your income, so that you will give room for savings. Okay, so that's very important. And you will hear people say, "Oh, cut your coat according to your size. Do not do more than what you can chew." So when you look at your income, you want to be able to break it down. If you've not done this before, take a pen and take a paper and write down what are the recurring expenses that you have every month. So you want to be able to pay your bills, your utility bills, your light, electricity, school fees, rent. Yes, we pay rent every year, but you can make savings every month towards your next strength. And you will not find yourself in a situation where you are not able to pay a rent. So in 12 months, how much have you been able to accumulate to be able to pay your rent? You want to be able to look at your children's school fees. How much have you been able to accumulate every month to be able to pay your children's school fees? So you must be able to write that down. And then this will enable you, will give you that knowledge. And from that knowledge, you will be able to take the right decision on what are the things you must strike out. What are the things you have been overspending on, and you need to cut down on that cost. So that helps you to be able to plan yourself, and you will not go beyond what you need to be able to spend. So as I mentioned earlier, we have monthly and weekly giving. You want to be able to give to the church. You want to be able to give to the poor. You want to be able to pay for food and water. These are very, very important. We mentioned about your part rent that you want to start saving every month. We mentioned the school fees. We mentioned the utility. We mentioned your transport. So your car needs repairs, needs maintenance and all of that. You have some debt repayments, and you want to be able to plan, if I continue to pay X amount for Y numbers of months, I would be able to clear this debt. So it's important that you write that down. You want to be able to remember your parents' upkeep. When you write that down, some of these even helps you to be able to plot a graph. I will show you month to month what has been taking a lot of your money. And that will help you to be able to cut down on some cost. And the moment you have assigned a specific amount of money to a part of your recurring expenditure, you know you don't want to spend more than that. So within a month, you know how many crates of egg that you are meant to buy. And that you shouldn't spend more than that. So if you spend everything in 1 week, you have to manage for the rest of the month. That way, it helps us to be able to develop discipline and to be able to stay within budget. Some other things that could be on your budget list includes your investments, emergency, which is definitely going to be part of your savings as well. So major positive purchases for family, of course, include the emergencies. You want to be able to invest as well. Maybe you want to buy landed properties, or you want to have some financial investment for the future. And sometimes major expenses can also be augmented if you want to take bank loans, or if you've been able to save enough. Some of us partake in a susu, and that also helps to be able to make some of these major expenses, but we have to be very, very disciplined with our expenditure. So another important part of money management is savings. As I mentioned earlier, taking about 20% for our savings. And if you can do more, that would really be very, very good. So saving is a critical element of our personal savings, personal finance, and it's very, very useful. Even the same thing for an organization. When you have your earnings, you want to be able to set some money aside for the future as well. So to achieve and improve savings level, it is important for us to reduce our expenses. So the more we can reduce our expenses, the more savings we will have. For organization and businesses, you will see organizations are looking for ways they can cut down cost. So you're generating energy, you're spending more money on diesel. How can we minimize our energy consumption? Because the more an organization is able to reduce their expenses, the more profits they are going to get. And that will help the company to be able to grow and to be able to chase more business opportunities as well. Okay, so we want to look at investments. It's good that as you make money, you think about investing your money. As our savings is usually the primary source of funds for investment, and this can include bank deposits, purchase of government financial instruments, bonds, treasury bills, and so on and so forth. We may want to invest in properties that will continue to give us that residual income. Stock markets, we could invest in other businesses that will seem to have got high potential of successes. We could purchase insurance policies, and then, of course, so many other things we can do. It's usually advised for us to spend our investments across a range of options, so that if one is not doing very well, we would have some other options that will be doing well. So one other thing we should also learn to do is for us to buy some insurance policies as well, as I mentioned earlier. So insurance purchases could include we protecting our assets from losses or damages, protecting the income of the family, most especially when the breadwinner is no more available. We want to be able to provide benefits in the event of disability, in the event of critical or terminal illnesses or deaths. Retirement benefits, we can actually also provide those benefits through some insurance purchases. The children's school fees is also a very, very good one where we can protect the children's education in the event that the breadwinner is not available anymore as well. And then another thing is our retirement plan. As I mentioned earlier, we need to have a very, very good retirement plan in place by participating in pension funds and also purchasing annuity. So annuity is a form of insurance contract that is issued and is distributed by financial institutions. The aim of this is to be able to pay out invested funds in a fixed income stream in the future. So when you stop working, you want to be able to get a fixed amount of money every month. You could actually plan for your retirement by purchasing an annuity program. You could also go into estate planning. So if you've invested in some real estate, you want to be able to write a will and appoint executors, on behalf of your children, loved ones, and family, or you want to be able to set up a trust. A trust is a fiduciary arrangement that allows a third party or a trustee to hold assets on your behalf or behalf of beneficiary or beneficiaries. Trust can be arranged in many ways and can specify exactly how and when the assets are going to be passed to beneficiaries. So if you set up trust at a particular time or at a particular age of the beneficiaries, this could be made available to them as well. So it's good for us to be able to also, there are some biblical scriptures that can help us with money management and some things regarding money. And we can as well learn from people who have been successful financially, in various parts of the world. There's something always common about that. So in conclusion, I would say that there are three major money management activities and I'd like for us to write this down, that one is store and maintain your financial record and documents, as I mentioned. So from your budgeting and planning, you want to be able to write this down. I mentioned earlier there are some mobile apps that can help you do this. Secondly, you want to be able to create your financial statement and analyze your financial records. I mentioned earlier that when you continue to keep those records of how you've been making money and now you've been spending money, it helps you to be able to take better decisions on what you should cut down and what you could afford to also do. It's good you also monitor how you've been spending, so that would also help you to take better decisions, and all of this knowledge will help you to be able to create and plan your budget properly. And I would also say your job is just, or your salary is just one channel of income. It's good for you to be able to get multiple channels of income. You may lose your job today. And if you're in business, it's also good you have multiple streams of income as well. The more income you have and you're able to manage your expenditure, the more you can save for the future and you can make other decisions on what it is you like. So God is the source of all of our money, and God expects us to properly manage our income, as the unavailability of money, it creates problems and creates challenges. So let us always plan for the future. Let us always plan for our family. Let us plan for our businesses. Let us plan for ourselves as well. And I would like to also let us to know that spend less as you earn. Let your expenditure be reduced. Be wise with your debt. For those of us in debt, you don't have to take debt. You can actually avoid debt. But there are times you want to do some businesses, you want to be able to take on some debt. So if you take those debts, have a payment plan and be very, very disciplined about it. Pen this down, write it down, the amount you want to be able to pay, and make sure this is part of your budget. Always plan for the unexpected. Unexpected situations just come in, medical emergencies, death, all kinds of family requirements, and we need to be able to plan for this, and this can help us in our savings. Setting goals is one major thing you should always set from your budgeting, your planning, your expenditure. You want to be able to set goals. So in your giving, for example, you want to set goals in the year 2024. This is the amount I want to be able to give for benevolence. And in 2025, I want to be able to improve. I want to be able to increase. You can't do that if you cannot increase your earnings or your income. So set your goals on, this is the amount I want to be able to save. This is the amount I want to be able to make, and be disciplined towards your goals. When you write some of your thoughts down, you write some of your goals down, it's easier for you to be able to achieve it. And lastly, be generous. Be generous in your giving. Everything you have is not yours. You are just a pipeline, or you are just a medium to be able to reach out to those who do not have. And there is something powerful about money. When you give, you will always get. So let us learn as well to be very, very generous. And in conclusion, let's be able to look at some scriptures. As I mentioned earlier, I like the passage about Luke 16. You can read the whole of the chapter, but in verse 10, he says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, that is money, who will trust you with true riches? And in verse 12, and if you have not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you the property of your own? So even God actually requires of us that even when he gives us money, he expects us to be able to manage it. And I will top it up with verse 13. He says, no one can serve two masters. Either you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. And this is a very inspiring scripture for me. I've seen so many people that money has influenced them and has made them to do what they would naturally not do. And I tell myself that money will not be my master. Rather, I will be the master of money. Money is going to be a messenger. Money is going to be a tool for me to be able to achieve the things that I want to achieve and what God is going to achieve in my life. So I want to be able to control money and not money to control me. And so because of that, it helps me. Even if you cheat me, I have this conviction that we cannot spend more than what God has destined for us. So it's either you want to rush everything and you spend everything in one day, or you want to take your time to be able to spend. You can't spend one kobo more than the amount that God has given to you. Even if you cheat somebody and you have a lot of money today, you're going to spend that money on something else tomorrow that you probably don't need to be able to spend that money on. And of course, the Bible says that ill-gotten gain, what happens? They are going to grow wings and then they will fly away. So let us be confident that God has given us a blessing, the money that we earn. Let us remember all what we have talked about, and let us make sure that we plan well and we manage these God's blessings for a better future. God bless you.